Hello there friends, my name is April San Pedro, and in this video I want to share with you my very first travel journal in A6 refill. So I believe this is my very first travel journal that is specifically for one trip. I'm gonna share a flip through of my journal. And oh, by the way, the reason why I'm sharing this is because my family and I are having another out of the country trip. And I was thinking, I haven't really shared my travel journal yet, and I also want to be inspired again with what I did with this one. I'm hoping that this video might inspire you to do as well, but at the same time, I'm also doing the same thing for myself. This is my very first travel journal in an A6 size. So this is the first time as well that I used this small. So I was actually adjusting because I'm really used to the regular size or A5 size. And I believe this is also the first time that I use a travel journal that combines memory keeping and journaling and drawing all at the same time. I really like what I did with this one because I didn't overthink so much. So if I did some mistakes or if I don't feel like it's pretty enough, it doesn't really matter. I was journaling, I was drawing right at the moment whenever we have a coffee or we have a lunch date, or if there's an ephemera, I just used one journal. And I really enjoyed doing this. And I've thought, every time I go out, I should probably just stick with one journal because technically you don't really get to finish one journal in just one full trip. And if you do, then that's the only time that you get to add one more. But what I normally do is like I bring so much journal with me. I have different sets, like for the daily and then another one for the regular size. I also have one for the drawing. So it's kind of hard to manage, especially when you're always on the go, you're traveling. And when you get back to your space, a hotel or a rented house, maybe your tendencies are you're already tired and you don't have enough energy to journal. So what I did here was like when I was in the airplane or when when we have slow time in a cafe or something like that, that's the time that I did the journaling. But I didn't stress so much. It's one of the most favorite journals that I have. I was also surprised that I love the A6 size for this. So I was thinking that I might probably use this kind of journal while traveling because it's very handy. It doesn't occupy so much space. It's not heavy at all. So I'm gonna share a flip through of this journal and share some of the trips maybe. So let's go. So this travel journal technically was last year. This happened after my church wedding. My family and my side went to Singapore and Malaysia. Actually, I believe this is not finished yet. I have few more or maybe a lot more photos to print, but I was thinking of printing it on a inkjet printer instead of my usual Canon IV or the Instax because it's pretty much a lot. So it's gonna be costly if I print them on a small scale. So I've thought of printing them on my Epson L1250, and I'm using a pigment ink, so it's gonna last longer. So anyway, so yeah, I have few more pages at the back and a lot more photos that I'm supposed to print, but nonetheless, I'm just gonna show you what's inside. Okay, so this is the cover that I did. When I started this journal, it doesn't have any decoration on the cover. It was just white. I can't even remember where I got this one. It's a generic kind of journal. There's no brand. I believe this is just from Shopee. So it's definitely not locally made or not from any brands. But the paper is really good. The paper is thick. It's dotted grid, although I would prefer a plain one, but since this is what I found in my stash, so I just kind of use it right away. So nonetheless, I wouldn't complain with this kind of journal. And I probably think it's really cheap. It has a lot of pages, so if you're not so particular with the brand and with the paper, I think this will do, especially if you're just trying out a travel journal or journaling in general. So I think this is totally okay. And then from here, you can actually try out some other journals if you're kind of like interested to test different papers and so on. But with this one, since the paper is heavy, I haven't tried watercolor though because I didn't bring it with me, I think. But if you're just using the usual brush pen, markers, and some ball pens, this is not bad at all. Okay, so after we came back home, a month after that, I believe, I did a cover, which I was so surprised that I did not expect that I'd really love the cover, because in my head at the time, I just want to use some scrap papers like the background, like this one. This is a handmade paper that I have in my stash, and I just don't know how to use it anymore. So I've thought, okay, maybe I can just use it as a cover and just try to stick whatever that I can at the top. So I didn't plan this that much. And then I remember I have a tag stamp from Heidi Swap. And so what I did is I just stamp it on a cardstock, cut it out, and then print some, and then stamp this one here, which I think is also from Heidi Swap. And then of course, if you know my style of journaling, I always love tabs. As you can see, I have lots of tabs here. So that's what I have here as well for the date. And then I just added some travel inspired stamps that I got. So like I have airplane, the world here, and some arrows, added some stamps. And then this one also are stamps that I did on a cardstock and then cut it out and use it as an embellishment. But the rest, I just stamped it at the edge. And I remember there are some drawings from my son here at the back here. So as much as I love being messy, or I love the way that my sons play with my journals and all, there are times that I just also like my style to be seen first. What I did is I covered it with this handmade paper, but I made sure not to stick or glue all the way so I can still see them here. So yeah, that's what I usually do. Like whenever I have a journal, my son always want to play with it, so I just let him be. But there are times that, you know, I just want to include my style as well, so that's what happens. Oh, so also I added this like a tag holder. So I just stapled a scrap paper here, and then that's it. I did not glue all the way because I like the idea that it is popping, but I made sure the parts that were glued are intact. So even though there are some open spaces here, this one is not gonna fall off. My normal way of journaling is I always skip the first page because in my head I want to put a title or something else, but I always end up just having it empty. But this one, what I did is I think I had an extra print of this photo, so I posted it here as my first page. And then this tab is actually from my collection. I forgot though which collection is this from, but this is my own die cut ephemeras. And then I just added some patterned scrap paper and some stamps. So one thing I love about this is I didn't overthink so much. I didn't bring so much things with me. I just had few pens, and I believe I had few stamps with me, and that's it. I just make use of whatever I have. These are not the colors that I would normally use, but I brought color pencils and crayons, I think, for my son as an activity during our flight. So I just use whatever he has, and I don't have anything except for this journal, I think. So I just use his colors, and then I just stick our flight details. And then, so I don't normally plan my spread, but if I know I have a photo of it, I make sure to leave some space, or if not, I will make sure I will just slip it in on this spread. In this case, I use a sticker paper, so the photos came in after, and I just left some few things. So like I just stick some ephemeras from the plane, and then I left it empty, and then I came back after to stick the photos. And then this one is from the resort that we stayed in. This one is not really memorable at all, but you know, when you're a journaler, you just like to use all the scraps that you find anywhere. So this one I find interesting. So this is a brochure from from the resort, or from the place that we stayed into, and then I just stick it in, added some notes, and that's just it. And then we had some bagels at the airport, I think, and so I kept the paper and then stuck it here after, and then I just wrote something. This was also from the packaging of this paper bag, and that's it. I also brought the date stamp with me, which is one essential thing for me, because I just like my dates stamp. So that's one thing that I just normally do while I'm journaling. And here, it's the same thing, ephemeras from Legoland. So when we came to Singapore, we went straight to Malaysia the next day for Legoland. And so as you can see here, there's nothing really overthinking, like there's not even stamps, just the date and some words, and that's it. And then here I also left some space, so afterwards, when I had a time after the trip, I just added some few stamps. And then here, the Legoland ticket, which also an ephemera from the Legoland. Okay, so, and then again, the photo is a photo sticker, so this one came in after as well. Okay, so same thing here. This is the first time that I use an A6 size. So I had a little bit of adjustment. I didn't really know yet whether if I put all the details in one spread, or I can just jump to another page or another spread, which I realized, why not? It's my journal. I can waste all the spreads, even if it just happened in one situation. I can use more than one page, and you know, I mean, like, I don't know, it's your journal, so you can do whatever you want. So that's when I realized, okay, so just in Legoland itself, so we just stayed there for like a day. It's an overnight trip. So as you can see here, I have like three spreads. I have a lot of photos from this one day trip, but I think I did not print them already, or I just chose few photos. But had it been I printed more, I can just use more than just 3 spreads, and that doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter whether it's just the same and you have more ephemeras that you want to stick, and you can just use more spreads after. And here, so we came back to Singapore right after our Legoland, and that's where we stayed few more days. And this is where the hotel we stayed in. I believe this is in Sentosa. Yeah, because we wanted to go to the Universal Studio as well, so we stayed somewhere there. And then we had coffee, and as you can see here, there's really nothing much going on. It's just more of sticking all the ephemeras from the trip, which you can definitely find a lot when you're traveling. Simple as sticker from your drink, or from a receipt from your coffee maybe. So here is also from a paper bag. And then I let my son draw during that time. And then yeah, so you can see, nothing, I didn't have so much embellishment compared to my usual curated kind of spreads, but this is really one of the most fun that I had, because I didn't overthink, and I was always journaling at the moment. So here I added some tip-ins, a photo of us on this place, and then a die cut. Sometimes you don't have to put all the ephemeras you find in a restaurant or on your trip. Just choose which one looks nice to you, or which one suits your style, but you don't really have to put them. But if you're the type of person who likes to put all those things, then go ahead. So I like collecting coasters, and what I did is I just stick it there. This one is from the packaging, same as I think this one, the paper cup. So it's a packaging, it's a paper bag packaging, and then I couldn't put the entire paper bag in a small journal, so I just cut them out, which I think I have an Instagram reel when I did this one. So anyway, I had a photo while I was journaling at the time, and so that's just it. Nothing really fancy and whatever. I also added some expensive spread and then more ephemeras. So this is what I was saying, that sometimes you don't really have to put all the ephemeras because sometimes it doesn't make sense anymore unless you just want to keep putting a lot of stickers and some papers in your journal. Like this one, I supposedly I need to put some notes, but I forgot what it is, or I have to put, I think there's a photo with this one. So yeah, so this one is supposedly from the start of the trip because this is our flight going to Singapore. But since I printed it late, and then when I saw when I reviewed my photo album, I really wanted to print this one because it's a very memorable moment with me. Like, this is the first time I saw my son Nicolas drawing so focusedly inside the airplane because I was journaling and he wants to do the same thing. And so when I was looking at him, he was trying to copy this one here, the whatever signage that he found on the chair of the airplane. He was really focusing, and he had a journal with just a bond paper. So even though the journal is not on sequence, it's fine with me. So I just added some scrap paper with some label here and some few stamps. I think the stamps came in later as well because I believe I did not bring so many things in this trip because I knew I cannot carry a lot of things with me back then. I don't want to carry actually a lot of things. So I just knew I had this journal and a glue and a pen, and that's it. And so this one also is from this cafe here. This is what he was doing, a drawing in my journal, and I had a photo of him which came in a few pages after. And so I just wrote here what was happening, and I couldn't journal anymore because he was using my journal. So again, this part was already at the start or at the previous pages of the journal, but you know, I was actually contemplating if I want to do this at first, but then again I realized, you know, why overthink? Just keep sticking whatever you want, and that's it. And then again here, there's a part from the Legoland which already happened before, but you know what I did? I just keep sticking and just adding some signs or labels to it. And then from the Garden Bay, I added some photos. This one I believe is from, so yeah, I think what I did here is I just, during the trip, I just stapled the tag, and then after that the photos came in because this one was also a photo paper. So I did not bring my photo printer that time, and then the stamps also came in after, and also this. Now supposedly I wanted to put some notes here, what happened and what's memorable and stuff like that, but since I didn't bring my photo printer, I just forgot, or probably, yeah, I forgot what happened already or what I wanted to write here. So lesson learned, I don't want to overthink again next time. So I'm just gonna think that I want to put a photo here, and then I'm just gonna write a note, and that's it. And then our ticket, I just make it as a tip in, and then a photo and a note, and then a tag and a photo from a photo sticker, and then some more. Supposedly again there's another note here, but I did not do it, so yeah. And after that, it's just more photos. Oh, this one is one of the I would say, I think an art shop. Yeah, an art shop in Singapore. It's called Overjoyed, and I think I bought the Etcher sketchbook here. So I just cut this one from the plastic packaging, and then from here on, nothing nothing is happening already. But yeah, like I said, I just printed some photos, and then supposedly I'll add more here, which I hope I will be able to finish before this year ends, because I really wanna keep this trip a in an album or in a journal. So I'm really gonna find a way to print all those photos again, and then I'm just gonna stick them regardless it has a note or what. Because you know what, sometimes even though it doesn't have any notes, where is this from, what happened during this time, looking at the photo is just, you know, something nice to remember, and doesn't have to be so decorated, or you don't really have so much embellishment and all that. So there you go, friends. This is my very first travel journal. If you were to ask me, few lessons that I learned from this is having one journal in one trip is definitely good enough, especially if you have a child, if you have a kid or children. So if you just want to have a creative outlet with you, which what I usually feel, so one journal is good enough. If you're always on the go, if you don't want an added thing in your bag, an A6 size, a marker, a pen, or just choose one that you think you can be very versatile with, that's already good enough. The embellishment will come in later, and if you have die cut ephemeras, that's already, I think for me, it's nice enough to have just those ephemeras. You don't need to have lots of stickers or stamps and all those things, but if you like them, you can just bring one set maybe, and then that's it. You know, one thing I forgot to put in here was I brought a Singapore stamp design sticker from the garden base, from this one, and I realized I was saving it for some time later, but then I realized when would be the next time and when would be the best time to use it, unless it's for this journal. Because yes, I can use it for my planner, but it doesn't really make sense because it's about the gardens bay, and I think some Singapore landmark and some icons. So I thought, you know, I should probably use that here instead. So another lesson that I got is like, if I'll buy stationeries or stickers that is related to that country or to that trip, I should just probably use it during that time, because other than that, there's no best time to use it. And if you come back to the place, then there's more reason for you to buy more stickers, right? And other things. So we're actually having a trip this coming week, and this journal just inspired me and reminded me what are the things that I needed to bring, which should be just minimal. Because looking at this, it reminded me that I don't really need to bring a lot of stuff. But if I'm able to carry just one pouch, then I can just fit in this one and some few things with me. So I hope this video inspired you to have a travel journal also. And if you have a travel journal, I would love to know what size of journal you have, what are the essential tools that you usually bring with you, or just let me know if you like doing travel journal as well. Thank you so much for watching up until the end, and I'll see you again on my next video. Bye!